and welcome back to another episode of the TB&J podcast. With me today is D. Troy's not here.
It's me. It's
D.
D.
We are here. We are talking about House of the Dragon. The finale has wrapped. We did a episode.
Some might call it the House of the Dragon.
Oh, oh, very clever, sir. Very clever. Yeah. This. Let's play the theme song first. TB&J. TB&J.
Welcome back to the TB&J podcast.
I love that. We did an episode of the podcast after the mid-season episode, kind of just doing.
You only get 2 this season.
Yeah.
We only got 8 episodes this last season.
Yeah, the whole episode. The whole season was only 8 episodes long. It really fucking felt like a million. It did not only feel like 8. This show really dragged on and did fucking nothing.
Yeah, I mean, so we failed to do our show opening, which is thumbs up and thumbs down, big guy. I mean, wait, little joke, but we don't have to get into the idea yet. Okay, why don't we start over? No, just okay, yeah, drag on. Yeah, went on. So, I mean. Ooh, okay. So does that mean? Yeah, I would just go. I thought you were just gonna go into so you didn't like.
I should have done what we normally do, and I did not. Definitely a thumbs down for me. I did not care for most of this second season at all.
So we rashed on this pretty bad last time. Just mainly because I think the first episodes were okay but slow. The first 2 or 3, and pretty tame, very tame. Now, I don't know how crazily weird that is for the first couple episodes of a season. But what I was saying was that we get to episode 4. It's a pretty darn good episode, but it's definitely not your best kind of showing here.
No, yeah, for sure.
It's how do you put this? It was slow. It was just not a lot. It was a lot of CGI, a lot of cool stuff there, but it was pretty tame in the sense of other things.
Yeah, there was a lot of very slow burn build-ups to things, and then they never came to fruition. I feel like the most we got was the Battle of Rook's Rest, which even that was the tail third of an episode. It didn't really feel like it didn't really get enough time to breathe, in my opinion. I feel like it should have had a little more space around it, or a little more time dedicated to it. And then right after that, it was just into the aftermath, and then building up, and nothing. It just ends with a nothing burger of an episode.
Are you talking about the first half or the second half?
Second half, I think, at this point, because I think Battle of Rook's Rest was episode 5, maybe.
What I was getting at is that the first half was, I was disappointed. I was not keen on this situation per se. It was it was just there just wasn't a lot going on at that point. But but what I liked was anytime as we were saying, they get away from the core 4 or core 5 characters and have some of these other characters interact with them, the other side characters.
Yep.
And I felt like the second half was full of that.
That was your biggest complaint in our first
episode 5 was... So episode 5 was the aftermath of this, and it was kind of slow, not so enthralling, but fine. And they had a little bit more of what I was looking for.
Yes.
And then episode 6, I think, is Small Folk.
6 is Small Folk. 5 is the aftermath of Rook's Rest. I was a little incorrect. So, our first episode we did on this ended with the Battle of Rook's Rest.
Right, 4. Episode 4. And then 5 was the aftermath.
Yep, Aemon taking the throne. And
is
then
there
6
names
is
for these titles?
5 is called Regent.
Yeah.
6 is Small Folk.
So 6. So Regent is fine. I dug some scenes in it. It was definitely cool. I liked the. That was a perfectly good progression episode, right?
Sure,
Like an aftermath episode. Small Folk, I thought was really good.
Oh yeah, that was actually a pretty good episode.
Now, Small Folk, if I am not mistaken, ends with the dragon. No, not the red. That's 7, right?
It's 7 is the red 7.
So episode 6 ends, and that one ends, I think, with the Rhaenyra bringing the food and stuff to the small folk, and giving them a lot of food from the boat at the end.
Oh shit! Was that episode 6?
Or was that region the end?
Oh no, you're right. 6 was the food laden boats to King's Landing.
That one.
Yep.
That episode seemed like what I really like in Game of Thrones, was just kind of like the war, the game theory, the war theory kind of stuff going on. Like, okay, well, we can win over the small folk and do this, and it was good, and we were getting these other scenes with these guys. Episode 7, with episode 6 with the small folk. Episode 7 with the Red Sun was obviously, I think, very cool.
Oh yeah.
You get first Sea Smoke, right?
We see Sea Smoke and Cyrax. They have their little standoff while Rhaenyra is trying to figure out who Adam is.
Beautiful scene, right?
Yeah.
This is at the beginning of 7, right?
Because 6 ends with Sea Smoke choosing Adam and finding him,
and then you get this the whole push for it, but there was also this Laris and Iron Rod scene where it's you can see Aemond dismissing the 3 members of the King's Guard.
Yeah,
that were Aemond's
drinking buddies almost. Yeah,
that he was making him take the black, and meanwhile these two are talking, and he's I've heard a whisper that someone has claimed a dragon, and it's well, this is your whisper. And obviously it's hard to, but this is a great scene because I don't know where on either's loyalties lie. We know, first of all, we've barely had any scenes with this dude in it at all, except for little council meetings.
I barely even remember his fucking name.
All we get is just their personality in reference to Aemond or Alicent or any of these other characters that are the core couple. Right. But now you get this scene, you get some Helena scenes, you get as it goes, everything that I was wanting in those things was there. Now, it obviously lacked a sacking of King's Landing. I thought King's Landing by episode 8 gets taken because she's right there, right? And I guess that takes a little bit longer. I mean, if it takes a season for her to get King's Landing, that's crazy.
They're definitely just rewriting the story at this point.
Well, I don't know, because the time frame stuff is up, and I was definitely wrong about whatever I thought I heard about any kind of book spoilers stuff about Daemon. Though I know now what kind of happens with that.
Sure.
And I understand what they're doing with Rhaena in finding Sheep Stealer.
Yep, Sheep Stealer, that big wild dragon.
So if you don't know, and I don't know what any of our listeners want to know in terms of the scenes, but I can say that what it seems like, without getting into mention, is that Rhaena is they're remixing a little bit of her story with another character.
Yeah, named Nettles,
they're not
right?
Named Nettles, that they're not going to do. And Nettles, there's another thing where it was they're not going to do this. Dear God,
sure.
Because this is, but I could see where they're going to go with this. So this is kind of where I'm intrigued. There's a couple other, I know where this ultimately ends, and I found that I think as this ends. Before I forget, I wanted to say that I think they were set to. Recently, I saw a blurb that said they are going to end with season 4.
Yes. So there is only 2 seasons left.
That is good, because we were at that 5 mark before, and I was like, I can't. Like,
Well, you say that, and yet if you look at the timeline of events of what happens in the book, without telling any spoilers, there are 26 key events according to the Song of Ice and Fire wiki. They ended season 2 on the cusp of event 4 happening.
yeah.
There is so much war that's going to get glossed over or fast forwarded through.
I think and I think because they're making this about these characters, these key ones, but as they grow, they are getting. So here's my true wonder. It was amazing that by the end of Game of Thrones, there were so many characters that had come and gone that we were dealing with it at various points that like it had gone so far. So it's like.
Yeah.
I guess part of it was that there were so many characters, they also made a ton of characters expendable.
Yeah, that's
right?
the thing, yeah.
And then as you start to narrow and winnow it down, it becomes an issue because you only have so many characters left. So if you kind of stave off some of those big deaths and slowly, I get the slow burn that they do. Now, another thing I'd said, I think last time, is I was looking for something I hadn't known I wanted, stuff like that. And I do think I got a number of those scenes.
Really?
The red sewing was cool. The end when Aemond takes Vhagar over and he sees that she has 3 fucking more dragons.
Oh yeah.
And that's a badass scene. I am a bigger fan of penultimate moments than I am of like the big moments. Is surprising. Like I do like a lot of like those build up moments more than I like the actual.
It's
moments.
why Empire did better than Jedi.
In some ways, yeah, but I also I'm just looking at this and I'm saying, imagine that there was just 2 more episodes.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think that's a writerly fault. I think that they map out this season planning for 10 episodes and got slashed by Discovery. You know?
Oh yeah.
Like I
Zaslav up there, yeah.
So, and I just feel like they were just like, we'll just move it to that. So maybe you get just a banger of an opener the next season.
It's got to start with like King's Landing on fire, right?
Or by episode 2, I could see that really being like,
sure, yeah.
You know how like Joffrey in episode 2 of season 4 that's like a huge like what it's a game changer moment, right? So you want those game changer moments. So I could see it happening then, but I feel like at this stage, with the break that you're gonna get, you already are kind of gonna feel like she's been on this precipice forever.
Oh yeah.
So it's like
they haven't even started production on season 3 yet.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying that like, I'm saying by that like. If you were worried that like after the first week and she doesn't sack King's Landing by the next episode, then like if they don't do it by the next episode, it's gonna be years. It's gonna be like, no, do it now. So like I feel like
fucking do something.
But at the same time, it's like can you tell that the story of getting to King's Landing, her taking it at like. In one episode, or do you have to do a bunch of like reestablishing situations and characters and who people are, and then kind of like, oh, in the next episode, I swear we're gonna do it. It's like, God damn it! Like,
just fucking give me the thing.
It's like understandable issues. It's like where that's where I'm saying like you wouldn't have to wait for that break. If you had 2 more episodes, you would have this.
Right,
you would have been able to do this episode you want to do. You would knock it out in episode 9. And then do a table setting episode like and this is the thing that they were able to do in Game of Thrones for so many seasons, which was they went to the episode 9 and then there was the episode 10 was always table dressing for the next season.
Yeah,
like it was
9 was like Battle of the Bastards stuff, and then you would get 10 where it's like, oh shit, now what? And then you would
9
get like
is a
Jon
red
Snow
wedding.
getting stabbed
9
or
is a
something.
red wedding. 9 is the battle at the wall. 9 is the Ned's beheading. Like all the game changing moments are episode 9 for at least the first couple seasons.
Yeah,
they played around a little bit, did a little couple 7 and 8 big moments, but still had some
Hard
like
Home
dope
especially.
moments. Yeah, still had some like really good moments in like 8, 9, 10 even. but usually that 10th episode is a lot of table dressing.
Yeah.
Which, granted, this one, it felt more like an in between, but it was a really good episode. Like the Damon stuff, I don't want to say pays off, because in all honesty, I really did think that that Damon's story had far less to go.
Yeah.
I thought this was the like we were like moments away from losing Damon. Like I thought Damon was no longer after this season.
Oh, you thought Damon was going to
I thought
die
Damon
in
was
Harrenhal.
done. I thought he would die in Harrenhal.
Okay.
That was my assumption based on kind of like what they were saying in it, where it was going, and the fact that they were dragging this out. I was like, well, this actor's pretty.
Smith is big, yeah.
Like he's a big draw to the show, that kind of stuff, and like I could see it being like, well, you're gonna give him this spotlight season
Right.
of scenes for him to chew the scenery and do what he does well, and then kind of have him big this send off because there wasn't much of the story, and I could see. I could have seen that a character like Damon being lost this early on in a season, in a series, like something that's going to go 3, 4, or 5 seasons, like losing them that early would be big.
Yeah.
And I could see that's what I was thinking was going to be a big death. But it feels like I'm intrigued. I do think that it needs to. I really do hope this because we do have some big changes immediately. Like by the end of this, we do have some serious changes.
Yeah, for sure.
We also do not have jetpacking.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So jetpacking was one of the bigger complaints with the later seasons of Game of Thrones.
The Northmen, Greybeards are just getting to the twins.
Yeah.
Like they're just crossing over now. Like how'd you like Philosophy Gal as the traitors?
Oh yeah, that was great.
What is her
From
Essos,
Essos,
the trans woman that was meeting with the Lannister guy, who's the captain of their ships.
Oh, jeez, I can't remember her name.
Loros is the name of the character, I think. Loros something, but
I believe
they were great. They're obviously kind of like playing with all these gender kind of norms on it. And
Lohar was her name.
Lohar, that was it. And I loved it being like, you asleep with my wives, and he's just like, how many wives do you have?
Yeah, how many wives?
That whole sequence, fantastic. Opened up the last episode again. A Lannister character that I've seen a couple times, but like I haven't seen them besides taking commands from the king and like being in the Small Council meeting. But this episode, I get him like dealing in with the traitors. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I get them dealing with the traitors, and I get them having to make this impossible deal and like getting shit on and like it was funny. It was lighthearted. The show needs a little less dour, and it needed some of that comedy that this scene I think really showed. It opened up the episode, and then like the transition from like what kind of contest, and then it's just this person looking at him, and then it kind of slowly transitions into to Vagar's growl.
Yeah.
And it was like,
and I was like,
that's
what?
good. That's good.
It's funny you say that. When I was watching this with my wife the other day, all she could say was that it felt like such a boring waste of her time, and that it wasn't advancing anything, and she disliked all of it. Hilariously.
I found, but you said you seemed like pretty thumbs down on this.
I'm thumbs down on the season as a whole, and certainly this later half of it, because it just felt like a lot of build up to nothing. I felt like I was not rewarded at any point in these episodes for watching. So,
like I said, it didn't have the bigger moments that I think would have been solidifying, and I think those would have been in an 8 and 9 if there had been those episodes, But in this, I think what I did get is some of my favorite stuff, like those things I was just talking about.
I liked Ulf getting a dragon. He's got the bronze one.
The whole dragon red sewing was great. I mean, Ulf.
So many people are dead.
Who's the guy? the guy says, "Come on!" Like,
That's Hugh.
Hugh is,
Hugh got the bronze one.
I'm buying Hugh stock, although
love Hugh.
I'm pretty sure he's gonna be turned by
By the blacks, or I'm sorry, the greens.
No, well, I think he's gonna be turned by who the fuck's the other guy?
Ulf, the lazy one.
Ulf. I think Ulf is going to be his charismatic bar self to the lowly lowborn, and it's going to cause kind of a rift in the thing, and then it's Jace is not. I understand Jace's position, but at the same time, it's like that's not going to go well. Plus, I mean, but I don't know. But there's going to be some battles. Like they're on their way. Like as I understand it, Corlys is about to slam into the traitor ships and Lannister and not expect them. I think there's something like they're expecting maybe the Greyjoys or something like that, but they're not expecting the trades people that they've been dealing with at the Stepstones.
Yeah,
and I think they're gonna see some problems there, maybe. But like, I feel like the story of so far, like literally every significant happening, anything, has been just a winnowing of both sides. Like every single battle is a no-sum game. It's like both sides get fucking wrecked in various ways, and it's just this, you're literally just narrowing them all down until there's nothing left. And that's literally what happens as far as I understand it, right? Like this is the dying of the dragons, right? And it's just like, okay, well, we killed a lot of your guys. Well, we killed a lot of your guys. And it's like, okay, who's in ahead? No one really.
Nobody.
Like, and so you also have the king is leaving King's Landing, right? He's
Aegon fled to Essos with Larys.
And their whole idea is just let them all kill each other and this blows over. And he's not wrong. This is the best thing he can do. This is the smartest move. He has nothing here, but without him present, then they're left to fight with themselves, and he can potentially swoop in. Mm-hmm. Now, so I like that. That was kind of interesting. I am surprised that Aegon is. I'm surprised that Aegon is not more suicidal. I don't think.
Really?
I don't think that he cares enough to continue living. Like, based on what I understood of him, like he even says his cock is gone. He has that, like his drag is he's as far as he understands, he is completely impossibly fucked. Like he can't have kids. He can't do this. He can't. He doesn't have another heir, as far as I understand it. So it's it's all kind of done. In that sense, but he's moved enough by the flattery of a namesake that like so am I to understand that like if he can do this, then he can at least save his namesake as king.
I believe so.
So he might not have like much to do, right? But he might not have a good life. He's not going to do anything, but he can swoop in at the last moment and reclaim his namesake and what the stories say of him.
Yeah, and then he can just be Aegon the Rebuilder, as Larys was calling him, or like Aegon the Savior.
Or as he says, the Realm's Delight, which was Rhaenyra's title when she was a child.
Yes, I remember.
So like this is I guess I buy that like he's going to be moved just enough to do that. What I'm intrigued to understand is like, I think that Aegon's actor has the chops and these characters have the right formula, that maybe if we get a little road show with Larys and Aegon, that could be a good comedy road show.
Oh, you think so?
I think it could be a lot of Aegon complaining and whimpering and kind of like saying what the audience might be thinking kind of stuff, and Larys kind of being leal and sticking to the plan.
That would be very funny.
And being real straight. Like, so I could really see that, like kind of similar to Varys and Tyrion in later seasons of Game of Thrones. I think you could see something like that. I also want to see more of Lannister and Talos. I don't think that'll be overly long in its passing, but I am more intrigued by the Lannister character. And intriguingly, his story is interesting too.
Yeah?
I'm also intrigued by this Lannister, who is one of two twins.
Yeah, I'm not entirely certain.
The other one is marching with his super cool lions and lion armor.
Oh yeah.
He's
So
marching, and they're
Tywin Lannister,
and they're heading to they're heading to Harrenhal.
yes,
And what Alicent is saying is that Vhagar is the King's Landing will be unguarded because he's going to ride with Vhagar to meet them there.
yes,
And that the castle should be unlocked. Now this is not obviously like them meeting. Not obviously anytime Alicent, and we knew this was going to happen. Alicent and her meet again.
yeah.
We get that they that this wasn't recorded, so this goes against the text that this happened.
Yes.
But she does mention that like, oh, you'll be painted in the history books. Will paint you as a villain.
Sure.
Which I get they do.
Yeah.
As I understand it, the Fire and Blood storylines really paint Alicent as like the bad one, and it's not done like this. Like, so I don't know if this is going to happen. Like where they just open the gates to them.
Right. That's my thing, right? So in the book, it does happen similarly at this point in the story.
The gates do open for them, but it's not Alicent, and I'm wondering if they're going to do that.
Right. It's not. It's Daemon.
It's Daemon and his gold cloaks.
Because the gold cloaks are like,
Yeah.
Daemon has returned, and they actually like what he did for them when he was in charge.
So spoilers by the way, but like I'm
Yeah,
wondering
mild.
if that if they remix that to make it Alicent opens the doors, but now Aegon's not going to be there, so it's kind of fucked either way.
Yeah, it's so bizarre at this point.
Well, no, I mean it's not bizarre. It's just like it's
Bizarre is not the right word. It's a different
It's
take.
They're no. I mean they're fucked because she's promising him Aegon and she okayed her taking his head. And when she gets there, he's not gonna be
Now
there.
I get it. Yes,
Like
that's
so,
absolutely correct.
so it's going to seem like she's lying about the whole thing and setting them up.
Right, which is just going to allow the mistrust and anger to sow again, and then
Yeah.
it'll split them apart, and there won't be any more friendly feelings.
And it does seem like if that happens, you will have this without him to like have finality to the end of the war. Then it will continue.
Mm-hmm.
She can sit on King's Landing, but she won't rule. She'll be, and then this war is going to go on, and she's going to be in the position that Aegon has been in, or Aemond has been in, with the people fucking
Yeah.
It's and fuck if they lose the sea stones and then the blockade. That could be a disaster, and then they could be fucking locked in at King's Landing without food, and the people turn against that. Like I could see that happening too, and it turning to the tide completely. Meanwhile, okay, and now Daemon is going to Harrenhal. He's gonna. That's why you see. Okay, so next season you're gonna have Aemond at Harrenhal.
Oh gosh.
and dealing with Rivers girl. And getting his ghost talks. Okay. Also, what about the vision ending? Where he gets the visions, Daemon.
Oh yeah.
And this is pretty tight. You see little Daenerys, little three-eyed raven.
Mm-hmm. There was a little future telling of stuff yet to come for like 100 years or more, and he knows about the White Walkers, or at least not necessarily them directly.
I
but
think
like,
he's 100% on. Now there are three characters with knowledge of the
Conqueror's Dream, Song of Ice and Fire.
Song of Ice and Fire,
and
he's seen it maybe even more than Rhaenyra.
And I was gonna say, here's the so it got passed to Rhaenyra from Viserys before his death. Daemon was never told,
right?
And
she
saw it,
and she's told Jace.
She told Jace as her heir. So very few people knew the actual Song of Ice and Fire story. And here's Daemon telling Rhaenyra to her face, "Hey, there's this thing up north that's going to happen. It's going to kill us, but we can't let it." Blah blah.
She hinted at this
to him,
that there were things that he didn't tell you, and that he didn't trust you to bear the responsibility of it. And I think he puts them together. That this is what we need to do.
I don't remember
and he chose
that,
you.
but it's fine.
But I don't know if that's all there, and I think his loyalties will continue to be questioned. That'll just be his character, but
for sure.
But you can see that like as soon as these guys are there, you know, you can see how good he is amongst the people, like amongst the warriors, amongst the men.
We saw that in season 1 with the Gold Cloaks. He's really good at leading a group of guys to kill a bunch of people. Yeah. It's just a matter of can you leash that dog?
It's just that we haven't seen that all this season. This season he's been a fucking mess.
Yeah, this season he's just been a psycho case.
So, I think one of the last things that I really wanted to that really surprised me. Okay, so Aemond rushes into Alicent and Helena and is like, come, like, you're gonna ride a tree fire, we're gonna fuck shit up, and they're just like, get the fuck out of here. Like, so that's and Aemon's their performance. Aemond has this great kind of exchange, and you can see the fear that's masked there, and him also trying to be logical, and it's all duty. It's all his only logic is because like he's only been taught duty, he's only been taught that, and shown no love. None of these kids have been shown any love, right? Like throughout,
right?
And but then Alicent scares him off a little bit, and then he comes back later more heartfelt, and he's like, we have the same blood, and he's like, I need, you know, he's like more subtle. He's trying to appeal a little bit more.
Duty sense,
And then this conversation gets so good.
Oh yeah,
and this is probably my favorite part of the episode. This is probably my absolute favorite moment, because this sweet little crazy Helena girl who has been clearly shown to be clairvoyant and dream seer type,
she
is just like, I saw you burn. I know you burned him. I know you burned Aegon. He's like, I won't burn anyone. And she's like, I didn't. He's like, you these are lies. She's like, I saw it.
Yeah.
Right. And she and then he's just like terrified, but he's stone faced, right? But like clearly terrified in the way he delivers this line of like, I could have you killed.
Yeah.
And then she just goes to him, it wouldn't make any difference. And it's so fucking badass.
It's so
like,
cold.
This
I love
is
it.
like, that to me was, again, this is almost equivalent, because it can't be as good, but it was pretty damn good to show me something that I was not expecting. I was not knowing I needed to see, like Helena using her. This is equivalent to Viserys last season climbing up the throne and that being the most badass moment of the time ever.
Oh yeah,
because it was all he could do to make it happen, is to just fucking take the throne and walk there, was such a fucking heroic like endeavor. Her using what she has, which is her ability to know how things fucking go, and for her to be like, you could have me kill, I'll have you kill, and she's like, it won't make a fucking difference. Like, I saw you, and she's like, and what she had said was like, you go down in the God's Wood, like
in the God's eye. She said
the God's eye. That's
which I don't even know what that
is. It's Harrenhal. It's all surrounding Harrenhal. It's like the grounds which are all fucking like the old men, or were the
right,
the children of the forest and the old gods, and it's like all their werewood and shit. It's like the oldest, like that's why he's like haunted and all there. So she's like, you go down in the God's Wood. He's like, I saw it, and she says like, I saw it, like it's already happening. And then she's like, it won't make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
It's like she just stares him right down. And he's just like, fuck. Like, he's just like because he holds no power over somebody like her, which is so interesting, because you think like he could kind of push her over, but like she won't do it. Like, she's not going to do it. So Dreamfire, I don't think, is getting ridden.
No, I don't. Dreamfire is probably just going to stay under the Red Keep until whenever.
Yeah.
I don't think she's coming out ever.
Which is crazy also, because apparently Dreamfire is a very old dragon.
Really?
It's big. It's big. Not I was in as big as Vagar, maybe but like Dreamfire is pretty big, and which was, I always found odd, because like, when did she claim it? She does not seem like the claiming type. Like, she doesn't even have a passion for riding. So like, she wasn't like she was given a dragon in bed and then she was just raised with it like the other ones.
Oh shit! You're not kidding. So Dreamfire was hatched during the reign of Aegon the First, Aegon the Conqueror.
Yeah, it's an old dragon.
Whoa!
It's a big dragon, right? So I think they, and I don't think they do any of this in the book. She doesn't have any of this dream seer like abilities, but the fact that she rides Dreamfire, and it's this old dragon, and she's just kind of like non-character. I wonder if they just thought like, oh yeah, she's probably a dream seer, and just like woke up one day and was like, I must take this dragon, like,
Yeah.
you know, just to keep it out of the hands of her brothers, you know, maybe, you know. So I think that's I that was a cool moment, and it just had a number of neat moments that I didn't expect to see, that I'm intrigued to kind of see how it goes. And yeah, I mean, I think I'm committed now to reading, just spoiling the book for myself so that I can.
That's pretty much what I've been doing in my spare time. Yeah.
Just because, like, I don't think it mattered, because like nothing we're seeing here is like, spoil, like, if I still know how like, I'm pretty confident how Damon's story is supposed to end, or how Aemon's story is supposed to end, but I'm intrigued to see it. I'm intrigued to see how that gets to there, and what are the stakes of those moments, because all we have essentially is like a visualization of those moments, like a summary of the event, and none of the stakes truly involved beyond the grander stakes.
Right.
Like, none of the personal meaning. So there's so much stuff to draw from it, to see what they add to it, and that has been some of the interest of this show. What do you think, man? Like, I mean, do you think like it's worthwhile? Has it been too slow? I thought, like I said, the second half I felt was way stronger than the first.
It was better, but like, I don't feel like it paid off at the end. Like you said, it should have been 10 episodes. They should have had a little more time to finish the story they were trying to tell, and in the end, they just couldn't do that. And now they've got 2 seasons left to finish this entire Civil War, when they're barely past the opening of it.
But I think now it moves a little bit faster, right?
That's what I'm hoping for, but like, I don't feel like I don't feel like they've garnered enough trust from me to trust
also
them
don't
to not
understand
fuck it
what
up.
a year is in this planet. Like, is it 300 some days? Do we know how long a secular year is on Planetos?
I'm sure somebody does. I can figure
that's
that
what I'm
out.
saying. Like, because like when they say 10 years, do they mean 10 years, or because they always talk about these summers and how long stuff is? I literally just don't know how. Long
A
it is.
year is 360 days divided into 12 months of 30 each. Yeah,
Wait, is that for Game of Thrones? Just what we do?
that is Westeros, and then their seasons, like especially for like long winters, could last years. Just the way that their climate works, but the clock is the same as ours.
It seems odd that they're not.
It seems very odd, especially
related.
if you're gonna have like your seasons that last years for like intense winters or whatever. So the entire Civil War, 2 years long, and as of the end of season 2, we're like a month separated from the death of King Viserys, and I feel
We're
like
how long from it?
about a month.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So they have a lot to pack into 2 seasons of show. So like, I obviously it would need to be sped up, or you're going to need to rewrite the entire Civil War to make it fit your timeline.
I mean, okay. Do you think it'd be? Do you have that list in front of you of like what these 24 events are?
I thought it was 26. Not off the top of my head, but if we take a moment, I will get it. Hang on. So you've got the list in front of you?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
So you have last season stuff. You have like the coronation of Aegon towards the end of the season. You have the Black Council and coronation of Rhaenyra, right?
Yep.
That's just like the assault. Is there? Do we even have assault on Harrenhal?
No, not yet. That's supposed to be.
Okay, so blood and cheese happens later. Blood and cheese is supposed to happen later. We already got that. Civil War in the Riverlands, we got that. So that's like 2.8. Like
that was like a blink of an eye.
The new Green Hand. So even though like okay, I think what you thought the assault on Harrenhal is just Daemon going to Harrenhal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Prince Daemon.
I didn't want to go too deep. I didn't want to like spoil everything for myself, but you might be right.
Yeah, it's just Prince Damon led the Blacks' attack on Harrenhal, which was conquered without bloodshed.
Yeah, it's
so,
not
like,
really an
it's
attack.
just-
We saw it happen.
Yeah, they just yield when Caractacus comes. So that's all that is. So we saw that. What I don't think we get, the dance over Shipbreaker Bray. Lucerys. No, we definitely got that. We definitely got the dance over Shipbreaker Bray. Shipbreaker Bay. We got Blood and Cheese. So we got Civil War in the Riverlands, the New Green Hand, the Duel of the Twins, Rook's Rest, the Dragon Seeds. Okay, so we are way further. We are at the halfway point, more or less. What we have next, Battle of the Gullet. All right, we have 12 through 26. So literally it feels like we missed like the 2 episodes.
Okay.
They have the Battle of the Gullet, the Battle of the Honey Wine, the Red Fork and the Fish Feed, the Fall of King's Landing. So, I mean, Fall of King's Landing is a little bit
Fall of King's
ahead.
Landing should be like next.
No, I don't. There's a couple battles there's a couple things that happen. The red, there's a bunch of stuff that happens in
No
between.
shit.
Yeah.
I dislike this.
I'm why? I think
I think pacing is just weird in this show.
I don't know. I think we finish with the Dragon Seeds, and then it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait. Let me see it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
There's
12.
a lot.
I think there are 12 roughly like moments left. That
Like
like
big
cuz
key
like
things.
like some of those things are just like one of the moments on this list is Rhaenyra being crowned. Okay? So like
Fair
understand that wasn't a
Fair enough.
It happens and it's a significant moment in this history of moments, obviously if you're telling this history, but
it's
like
not
it's
like-
not a big moment in the story.
Yeah.
So obviously some of those moments matter, some of them don't. So I think like in the cool things, there's more battles and situations to come, and they're pretty. I think season 3 could be your season 3 Game of Thrones, and if you think about it, so far, while I think Game of Thrones was superior in its presentation of season 1, their first season, season 2 of Game of Thrones is a slog. It is. I find it. The North stuff is super confusing and not at like the beyond the wall stuff with him is like kind of
sure.
like I don't know. It's so far removed from everything. These characters I don't know. Then you get all the Greyjoy stuff with him like taking over Winterfell, and that's like a slog and a half. And you just hate kind of like seeing it the entire time. It's not fun.
Arya's on the run most of the time.
Yeah, and it's just like it's. There's world building, but it's not very cool. It gets to the end, and the coolest part about season 2 is Tyrion is the hand. The really cool part about season 2 is Tyrion is the hand of the king.
Yeah, there's the Blackwater battle.
and that's where the Blackwater battle at the end salvaged him.
No.
No,
not off screen
no.
entirely. No, Tyrion gets knocked out and then he wakes up and it's over.
No, that's not Blackwater.
That's not Blackwater.
That is not Blackwater.
Oh,
That's a battle that Robb Stark won over at somewhere else, like over near close in the Riverlands. He then after that that's the end of season 1. Then at the end of season 1, he makes him he tells him to be hand of the king. He shows up at King's Landing at the beginning of season 2 as hand of the king and spends the entire season as hand of the king, in King's Landing, actually making all the correct moves that they needed to in order for them to make things like Littlefinger gets credit for making the deal with the Flowers people, the High Garden. he was the one who sent Littlefinger to make that deal, but Littlefinger gets credit for it. But Tyrion, it was Tyrion's idea to make to bond with them. Like he's the one who, like, when everybody was fucked as Stannis is charging, like brings the men back and actually like gives a speech that gets them riled up to win.
Right.
Like he gets fucked. Like so, like him as Hand of the King is the best part of that season, but so much of it, like the Stannis stuff, is all confusing. These new characters, kind of slow and not fun. Intriguing, necessary, world building, and a lot of different stuff. Whereas this second season was not a lot of new things, a little bit slower, right? But like on a level of like, okay, I think I had more fun with this season in the end than I did with season 2 of Game of Thrones, but like not it's just weird to say. Like there's so many different things there's so much more variety. It's like you had a variety pack in Game of Thrones of flavors, and like any single episode is going to have a good amount of flavor that you enjoy, right? Whereas like this season had many, because it has so much less variety, right? It's like you're going to eat 3 of these candy bars and they're not going to be great, and then you have 3 more that are amazing. So like on the whole, it's like, well, I like the bars that are in this one better, but I hate the other bars that are in it. And then
no, I get that.
In this one, the other one had so much variety that like you ended up liking more of the bars, but none of them as good as the other one. So like that's
totally
my best
valid
analogy that I can give to it. But like I don't think it's far off, and there's some really cool moments in it, and they're getting more and more, I think, of it. And now as you have 2 seasons of world building. I think I'm loyal to the show.
Yeah. I really want to see where it goes. I just have been unimpressed so far. And maybe I had my expectations too high, but it feels like every episode, everyone's always talking about how important it is we go to war, and the war is coming, but they've been saying that for what feels like 3 years now, and I don't feel like we've gotten much actual war other than Rook's Rest.
I mean, yeah. Like, okay, so let's. Okay, you've seen 2 seasons of You watched the first season of Game of Thrones, right? You see no battles. They alluded to one, they alluded to numerous ones. They're on battle flanks a lot. Like they're on the march, right? Like a lot. Like most of the meetings are taking place like at a what do they call those? Like a encampment.
Yeah.
You know, so like they're on the road, you know, like they're out and about. They're not, so much of these 2 seasons have taken place like in King's Landing's like safe rooms. Like they're not out and about in the world of Westeros, you know, like they're usually in the castle.
No, sure. I see what you're getting at. I
Whoa.
I don't want to compare this to Game of Thrones. It's a completely different thing.
No,
Season 1 of this show threw me into a civil war at the end of it, and I feel like I haven't gotten a civil war yet.
Well, I'm just saying that. I was saying that, like, comparing in the sense of, like, you didn't see many battles in the first season of Game of Thrones, but they were in battle. Like even though they weren't showing it, they were clearly on the march. Like they were at war.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's what your difference is. Like, there's these people marching, and that's because you kept going to different places. And that's what I think you're missing. Like, had we gone to some of those places, you would have seen, like, the war merging. And I feel like we didn't see that. We just saw, like, them at the council meetings doing stuff, which, granted, like...
Now I see what you mean.
You know,
okay.
like some of like that, the war has to build in those moments, and like sometimes you have to hold fast, and it is slow, and that is what some of they were complaining about. Like that's why Hightower gets fired because he's like, I want you to spill, blood, not quill, not ink, like. But some wars are absolutely won through. That's part of it, but like. What I felt like was often happening was like it's also because like some of these guys have never been to war before and they just don't know what to do. Like they don't know when to fight. Like they're anxious to fight, but like Hightower won't let them at first, and then as soon as they get a chance to, it's like he starts on the march, but Rhaenyra is trying to hold back. Whereas these guys are doing that, and that's kind of the battle that they're having. It was like well, they're all hot-blooded and want to do this, but we're not going to do that. So it's like, but smarter heads would have pulled back from this. So it is like a slow boiling thing. But I think now what they were showing towards that great, beautiful music montage at the end too. Just an absolutely stunning.
It was well shot. I enjoyed watching it.
The music that they did with that whole thing was really good.
Yeah.
Worth a rewatch just to see that whole montage of scenes, which included.
It's still Ramin Djawadi doing all the composing, so it's still the
was
awesome
amazing.
Game of Thrones music you want.
Which also showed Hightower Otto in jail in a cell.
My wife thinks he's on a ship and he was supposed to be like in a cargo bay or something like that. I didn't get that impression.
He's definitely caged.
He's definitely
he could be
held.
in a cargo. He could be, but he's being held.
Right. The
And
question is
someone
by who?
By whom?
Thank you. The last we heard of Otto was like when Aemon sent for him, and they were like, "Oh, we haven't heard back. I don't know." And now it's like, "Oh, he's behind some wooden bars. What'd he do? What happened?"
Yeah, I mean, like from what I understand, Otto Hightower went back to Highgarden and I don't think Old Town and didn't come back. Like as far as I understand.
Yeah. Do the Maesters of Old Town have him prisoner or something?
I don't know.
It's crazy.
Yeah, intriguing. I'm wondering if there's somebody out there that is not a fan, but I don't know what they want to do with that. I don't think his story has much else to say as of yet.
Unless like a black sympathizer thinks it could be like a bargaining piece and wants to deliver him to Rhaenyra and her company.
I'm feeling more like maybe he's caught up in the middle of it. Like maybe somebody black who's loyal to the blacks like picked him up. But I have a feeling it's more internal. Like he's gonna. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Laris got a hold of him through his peeps.
I would have loved to see more of that, maybe, rather than seeing Alicent soak in a lake for like 10 minutes.
Listen. I was gonna say that too, and then her
nothing
last
against
scene,
Olivia Cook.
Olivia's last scene in the all dressed in blue with her hair down. She was just absolutely stunning. I was willing to forgive whatever she had done, whatever her storyline did at that point. I was like, yeah. I wonder if she makes it out any further here. I don't know where what is she. So if she lets her in, if it goes to this plan, and then like Aegon's not there, maybe they remix it to that she lets her in, or maybe they don't trust her, and they go with Daemon's way in anyway.
They could, yeah.
But then what happens? Like, I would assume like she and Helena are. Did she say she would let him go? But like, but that's only if Aegon's there. So like, if they're not there, then I feel like they're captives, right? So now you get a bunch of Rhaenyra in King's Landing with Alicent as a captive is my guess.
So it's still like so they get animositous relationship.
Yeah, you get to have all these scenes as she freaks out and gets stuff, and she's, gone. Oh, man, I don't know. Or is Alicent in the breeze? Like is she already in the breeze, and she just told her, "Hey, it's gonna go down like this, and I'm out." Late.
Yeah, she could just like dip completely, take Helena, and just completely leave.
In that case, I don't think that she makes it, or maybe she I don't know. I think at this point her story is just going to be kind of a shaggy dog, but I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen more of her and Rhaenyra individually or forced together than I should in a Civil War story. I don't know.
Like maybe you can get that out of their system, like the opening of this with. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
I want to see Rhaenyra go and wage a war, and I don't want to see Alicent mope around anymore. I'm sick of that.
Yeah,
I want to see the cool actiony stuff. I was promised a Civil War. Damn it, show me a Civil War.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like a cranky like internet neckbeard bitching about this show, but
that's because you are.
I just feel like every episode has kind of led to nowhere with like cool moments in them, but like. I feel like the ending product, looking back at it, I'm like, what was all that for? I don't know. I'm glad you have a different opinion, and I like seeing different opinions.
Yeah, I mean, I just like. Well, it's so funny because you're coming up like all high, like, oh, dragon. This is Deadpool all over again. Like you're like, oh, dragons. This is a cool episode, and I'm like, nah, it wasn't that great, dude. It wasn't that cool of an episode. These first 4 episodes are not great. Like the dragons were cool at the end, but like it wasn't all that fun to watch. These episodes.
The first 4 episodes gave me hope because I was like 1, 2, and 3.
You're coming in here, and it seems like you didn't quite much care for all this, and I'm just like, no, this was like this was the kind of game theory. Maneuvering like multiple character angles and you know, just like a bigger, you know, world set that has consequences and ripples that run through it. Like when they talk about something here, it affects these two over here, and they don't know about this, and you know, all these things are happening. It's not just these closed conversations between 5 people. And the people around listening to them. And that's what so much of the first half of this season felt. And as much as I liked the actress who played Rhaenys, and kind of like what they were going for with the character in general, I just don't think they knew there was no like the way that they have to kind of write these female characters sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the women in this society can let me rephrase, the ladies in this society, like the ladies can rarely ever be truly badass. Like they always have to like Rhaenys, when she talked, like Rhaenys should fucking lay the law down to Corlys at every moment.
Absolutely.
Like, get the fuck out of here, you dragonless piece of shit. Like, the fact that he's cheated on her at all is like bullshit to me, and the fact the way that she treated him, to like that she knows, right? Like she gives him
of course she knows.
And I'm just like, like that, like that's not. It's badass in its own way of her like love for her husband and like this, but like it didn't. I don't know what I wanted from her. I didn't want anything from her character, and that's, I guess, kind of the issue. Is that like as much as you know but it seemed like, you know, the history books don't allow her character to do anything, so they kind of kept having to make her do nothing. Yeah. Like it's so like the perfect image of that is obviously when she pops up from the dragon pit with her dragon
during the coronation of Aegon.
The coronation of Aegon, and just stares him down and moves away. And I'm like, it's supposed to like, I get what they were trying to go for to me. Like she's not taking his line down, and she has these sensibilities and principles, and that's cool and all. But like that's let me put it that way. It's fine and all. It's not cool and all.
Yeah,
like
what's cool would have been burning down the Red Keep.
Right, like it makes her look less badass to have done that. It would have been cooler to have her whip a couple asses and manage to escape on her dragon.
Sure,
right? Like I would have rather seen that and for her to just run away, and get to King's Landing and let him know what's going on, and to recoup her sources and just make sure the other team had a dragon, not to like. And to show that she couldn't have done what she had wanted to do, like, or what they ended up showing, like that. Yeah, that could be hindsight 2020 or not knowing how that would come off, but like that's just, I think, is sometimes the problem that this show has. Like whatever you want to do with Alicent and even Rhaenyra to some degree, it's hard to make these characters badass.
Yeah.
If only because for them to be good-hearted or likable, they can't be purely evil. You know, they can't be like, they have to be somewhat understandable, and you gotta want them to win. And part of what we've been missing is a true anyone to truly feel good about winning anything. Yes. You know, and that's, I think, the down part is like, I guess they're trying to run that with the you know, Rhaenyra and Daemon and the Song of Ice and Fire. They're trying to say, well, they need to win to do this stuff later. And it's like, yeah, I get it. But what I really need is to want you to win because of who you are, not because of what you need to do.
Right, exactly.
And it's like, so you never get quite people that are honorable and good that you want to see win, which is whatever. I mean, I'm having fun with it. I like the small folk. I like seeing the different dragons. I like seeing what I like Stealer. This is a cool, spindly, like.
I like the design of the dragon.
Yeah. What's it? Like Tim Burton looking dragon.
Yeah. Man.
These like long, like tendrils
That's
coming out of its wing.
That's a really good comparison. Oh, I do enjoy that.
Yeah, sure. and he's like all like feral and stuff, and this and Reyna, like I'm wondering how that's gonna go because she's not Nettles, right?
Right. Exactly.
And if you don't know, Nettles is just the thing is like what's crazy is that Nettles in the books is actually looks like Reyna.
Really?
Yeah, she's darker skin, she's young, she's like the big difference is that she's ugly and has like half her nose cut off. But like
Oh, that's different.
So, but otherwise she's kind of looks like Reyna. And I think that's where they're going for it. Now Reyna is Daemon's daughter and Nettles is according to Mushroom Daemon's side piece. This very young, incredibly young side piece. And the rumors are that he wants to run off with her, like do all the, or that there's some more tension that's built between Rhaenyra and Daemon due to Nettles and his doting on her.
Huh.
Now, in this, if they remix that to be Rhaena, right? This girl who's never been looked at by her father, who now has a change of heart, right? Recently, after his visions and such. And then maybe reconnects with his now dragon-full daughter instead of dragon-less daughter.
Uh-huh.
And he's doting on her a little bit more, and I think that causes tension between Rhaenyra and Daemon after this. But in this remix version, you have to imagine that it's like Daemon coming, maybe being more doting on his daughter, and him trying to be a better father, right? And that taken away from the mission itself. And I'm wondering if they'll scar her. I wonder if in her taming of this dragon it's going to take her nose or something, or
okay,
you know what I mean? Like
no,
it's
really,
a fucking
really cool.
feral looking beastly dragon, and I'm wondering if it'll fuck her up before it
lets her ride it.
Yeah, and I think that would be cool. And I think like
if they really want to merge the characters, that's one way to do it.
Listen, I appreciate them not ripping off Tyrion's nose in Game of Thrones, as he's supposed to have done at the end of the Battle of Blackwater.
Wait, really?
In the end of the Battle of Blackwater,
I didn't know that.
Cersei sends one of the King's Guard to kill him. Like she says, like, don't let him, come out alive of this battle. So towards the end of the battle, when they like kind of won, one of the King's Guard comes up to him and like slashes at his face, and Podrick Payne like actually kills the guy and prevents him from killing it, but he did slice his nose off.
Oh, he has that scar.
So he has a scar that goes like across his face, which is like, fine. It's a good scar for it, but like it doesn't really mess up his look all that much.
Right.
Whereas like he's
still
first
handsome.
of all like incredibly heinous to begin with in the book, and this just makes him a fucking skeleton looking freak. Like he's so ugly.
Oh,
he's like
boy.
you can't love it.
They are not kind
You can't
to
look
him,
at
huh?
it. No, they're not. So there's all kinds of characters like this, like just mutilated characters all the time. And
they cut fucking Theon's cock off and had it cooked.
Right, but you don't. But the difference is that it's alluded to in there, but you don't look at it. You don't have to do the makeup for it. You don't have to look at it. Like you honestly, this is where I just. My whole free will argument comes in. I'm just like, try to look at a person that, and listen, I'm not saying that it can't be done. I'm just saying there is a visceral human reaction to seeing this, and it's hard. Like, go look at Viserys. Go make out with Viserys, right, at the end of last season. And it's just like, it's not a moral issue for you. That is innately repulsive in any way, and to look past that, to be able to look past that, is some kind of beautiful gift that you've been given if you can do that.
Yeah.
Like that's not a norm, or it should be an expectation for anybody. So like I get it that like they're gonna be like, no one wants to look at that every week. Like you just don't. You definitely don't want to like go for that person. Now, I wonder if they do something like that. I think it's still too much CGI and
yeah, they
to
won't.
cut someone's nose
It'll
off.
be a little more pulled back like Tyrion's was.
But yeah, I think they'll do something like that. They'll make her a little bit more badass as it because they got to. And I would like to see some more acting for this job because so far they've just had her look terrified in every moment, and it's kind of unnerving. That's kind of unnerving to look at. It was kind of unnerving to watch her scenes. Just like dude.
How did she run away
Yeah.
from all those guards with the last, like the youngest of the Targaryen boys?
They portrayed this poorly. Again, you can do a little bit more character building by making her a little more crafty.
Also, the veil from Game of Thrones, like what they talked about in the last show, is full of mountain tribes that would have raped and killed her by now.
And which is why why it would have gone so far to just instead of cutting through her in 2 or 3 scenes in that last episode, have one scene, one section of her story in the episode that just deals with like the camp where she's marching with, goes to bed that night. She wakes up and they're at dawn and it's still night out, people are still sleeping, so she can easily sneak out or get away as she sees like as dawn breaks, like she sees Sheep Stealer and she goes and does the same exact fucking thing she did.
Yeah.
Except it doesn't have to be like make everything look stupid. Like
it looks so stupid.
Like you can still see that she's desperate to do this, and you could even say like give the threats and there's mountain tribes people like you will die if you go out here. Like cool. But you could have saved yourself scenery shots and just by a little bit of acting and story writing. So, but like, so whatever, the pet peeves, this and that, those things in the end, I don't care about. That I care less about that kind of stuff as little moments like that. Like, where are these trolls? Because they're hand wavy enough.
Yeah.
Okay, she got away from them.
It doesn't like break the season for me.
But a better show does do those things. And I do feel like Game of Thrones used their time maybe even too much to be so respectful to the text initially for what they could produce, that they should have remixed some things or avoided some elements of the story that you didn't need. But yeah, I mean,
well, D&D got blank checks after season 1. They could do whatever they wanted up until like after season 6 when things started getting reined in a little bit.
Mm-hmm. They had blank checks all through.
And this show definitely has budget cuts and budget constraints. That's why we have 8 episodes instead of 10.
But and that's what's crazy is like they also have Dunk and Egg coming out like the Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Like that's in between this and the next season.
That's between
so that's like next year or something like that. Like
I think it is 2025. Yeah.
So I'll probably have to cover that because I do like this world.
And
they keep
talking about doing the Egg on the Conqueror show.
Yeah.
And GRRM said there's like 7 currently in production, and we only know about the 1, which is Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
I mean, here is the thing, like. I really do wish you would tell an end to this damn story, but like there are a ton. This world is so vast.
It is. You could go a lot of different ways,
and continuing to grow is the issue that I feel like we see. Is that he keeps writing more things, writing more other things, so the world itself keeps growing, the backstory of it keeps growing. Yet the original story isn't finished. I don't know how that. I'm very intrigued. I'm intrigued to see what this guy does and what happens.
Yeah, I do still love the world. I'm still gonna watch all the fucking shows.
It's a really cool world.
Yeah,
it's a really cool world.
They've got my money. I already subscribed to HBO. I'm not gonna pull it. I'm still gonna, I'm still gonna watch. It's gonna be great. I just want more action. But maybe I'm just being stupid and petty. I don't know. I don't know.
Usually,
really appreciating it for what it is.
No, I mean you're what is it? Shallow. You're shallow. You're a shallow person with low taste. Like a small folk. You're small folk. Okay, I get it now.
Here's my thing. I have very limited time to actually sit and watch TV or a movie. I want it to be fun. I want it to be enjoyable.
Yeah, me too. What are you talking about? That's all we're saying. It's just that what is enjoyed is intriguing sometimes.
Yeah.
I need more than shaking your tush at the camera sometimes. Not all the time, but even shaking your tush at the camera There should be something you're adding to it. There should be do you get me? That analogy is just meant to say that like there's some things that are golden, right? Like I mean, like they're a hit, they're a knock out of the park every goddamn time.
Sure.
It's like tits and ass always gonna win. People like it.
Sure.
But you don't do it all the time because you can't just have tits and ass all the time. Like you can't just have that all like. Mm-hmm. Oh, look, there's more of it. Awesome. Look, that to me, like, and this is where I'm feeling more like Deadpool and Wolverine. Like,
still are on that?
Well, yeah, no, it's exactly what it is. Like, it's all of the same thing. It's like you want your explosions. You want your. It seems to me like when I was young at like 12 and like listening to music for the first time, and I'm like, oh, they said "fuck" in this song. And I was like, oh, it's so cool. Like, oh yeah, they curse a lot. Like, it's that, and it's like they're cursing is fine. It's not always cool.
Sure,
it can be fucking awesome. Mm-hmm. Just like when I used it right there,
like very very poignant.
But there are just different ways to do it. So it's not the fact of it. Like it's just like I have seen such better executions of things. And I don't think that they executed incredibly poorly at all in the second half of this show. I think everything we saw was good. It's just that I don't think it was appreciated because what that was isn't considered good by too few. It's considered good by too few people. Like what we saw there was very good, in my opinion. It's unfortunate that people don't enjoy that as much or don't see there was like very cool things happening in the second half of this season. Way cooler, I think, than the first.
I'm not denying that at all. There were,
but
it
wasn't.
Cool
But it wasn't enjoyable for you. Like you said, like oh, you want it to be more fun. Like you want it to.
I wanted there to
enjoyable.
be an ending payoff more than anything, and there wasn't.
Yeah, and
I'm watching
just,
the last episode, and I feel like
it
it just cut to credits randomly almost.
Like again, I do feel that it was light, but I feel like that there, like I said, payoff means something has to happen. Like there has to be a thing that is like that you enjoyed, that you like, and I feel like I got those things in these little moments that I was looking for, but you didn't get that thing because what was it that you wanted? You wanted I
wanted more of the actual war. Instead of sitting around for 4 episodes bitching about going to war.
You want to see murders and death. You want to see people in battle. And that's where I'm just like, but that's a surface level of like element to it, isn't it? Like, isn't that just like kind of like, okay, I want to see the battles. I want to see like the special effects. I want to see the drag. Like it's like I want to see the things instead of like the character choices.
Not when you end season 1 with your main character staring down the camera and saying there will be blood and they will pay.
And there was immediately.
There was a little kid that died and then nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
and then continually nothing.
But like I do think we are getting like a lot of things happened this season. Like there was a lot of like there. First of all, we did have significant deaths. We had we had complete disfigurement and a complete life turnaround for
Aegon.
For Aegon. Aemond went from essentially just a guy that looked cool in the background in the second half of the first season to the King Regent. Like I mean, the King Aegon has been mutilated and harrowed away in a box cart, or what is it? Spirited away.
I knew what you meant.
And like there's more dragons in the mix. Like so many things have changed significantly in the entire world of Westeros since the beginning of the season, and which starts at the very end of last season, like moments like a week after Viserys has died. So it's like we got those the twin fight we forgot about, like that was kind of cool. But like again, those moments, some of the moments weren't as good enough. I want to feel like those lead-up moments, there are no more lead-up moments. Everything bangs now. And now we're like really involved in each of the characters. And I think there's a lot to like dwell upon, to think about kind of what comes next. And there'll be like changes. I feel like there's going to be changes back and forth. It's like been slow build.
I hope so.
Like we got one character death of a kid at the end of the season eaten by a dragon. We got one little not even a fight, like just a chomping of a
It
dragon.
was like 30 seconds gone.
And that was like, okay, here we go. Like, it's a big thing. Then we get a lot of back and forth, and it's like picking up. But now they're on the march. Oh my gosh, I do think it could be very cool. And I do think that they're, poised to maybe have their red wedding season.
I hope you're right. I hope you are right.
Me too.
All right. I think that concludes it because we're pushing like an hour 15 right now.
Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna give season two on
the whole.
On a what is our rating scale again? Was it 10? Is it a 10 system?
Yeah. You wanted to do a 1 to 10.
System.
Are we doing points, like a 0.5 or no? Just solid numbers.
Solid numbers. I'm gonna give the second season as a whole. Well, let me do. The second half was I would say the first half was a 7.
First half?
Yeah, 70. His first half was a 7, and it was a low, barely. Second half was, I think, an 8.
An 8.
Yeah, total. Like, I mean, like like a high 8 or whatever. But like, it was better. It wasn't. I still think like I want to give those scores meaning to say that like, I don't know, what would we say? Like the second season of The Boys is like a high mark, right?
Sure.
Like if we give that like it's a 10, right? There's a 10 or a 10 right there. What else do we love? What else has been our
God, what the fuck else do we love?
I don't know. We don't love a lot.
No, not really.
No. I mean, like I'm trying to think. Like Boys was always a banger. I'm trying to think. Like Mandalorian, we had some
Mando,
back and forth on.
Ahsoka was good.
Nah, we didn't. I thought there was another. Oh, Peacemaker. We were bangers on. Peacemaker was bangers on. But like if those are 9s and 10s, yeah, then I don't think this got me to a point where I was excited to do it, get in there, be like, I gotta see this now. I am there, but not because I'm there like that with everything, but not those in the same manner, right? Like, I don't think it was as good, even though it is a higher quality show than even probably both of those. It's like in terms of production and seriousness, I guess. I don't know. Like those are more comedy based and I think this is enough of like I think overall, maybe as a total for the whole season as a whole, maybe a 7.5.
I think I'm there with you. I would have given the first season a 7 as well. The first half of the season, rather. The second half, I'm sitting at like a 6. It comes down a point for me personally.
The second half?
Yeah, the second half. There's just a lot of talking in circles, walking around, planning a war, not really doing a war, but it's fine. We don't see much outside of King's Landing and Dragonstone. Maybe there is more going on. I just don't know about
Harrenhal.
And Harrenhal.
No, I think we saw a lot more of that in the second half.
Not really.
We were in the other. We were in Essos with
minute?
Lannister. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Was like we were getting that stuff in the second half. We were in Harrenhal. We saw some of the. I do think we could spread out more. But that was my
so regardless of all that, what do you think about George R.R. Martin angrily leaving the staff after season 2?
Par for the course.
Yeah?
I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I think that guy is difficult. I think he's made an amazing world. He's built an incredible world here, but like, I don't know. I don't think he can finish this. Hey, if he comes out and in a month and says I completed The Winds of Winter and The Song of Spring, and I'm releasing them both next, like, awesome, cool. He's been keeping it as suspense all this time. But I don't think that's the case. I think he is perfectly set for life. I think he writes as he wants to. He puts his hands in whatever deals are going on. I think every producer in the world is like, it doesn't matter, we can keep give us all you got now. He's got 7 fishes in the pot, like cooking up different shows. He's gonna make all the money, and he's just giving them ideas and blessings, like so long as his name is attached to it, I think he can kind of ride that out, and I think he has no interest or desire to finish writing the books because I think he sees it as very difficult, and I don't think he's interested in writing it. I think like every time he thinks about writing it, it's a chore, and I think he really wants to write about like the other stuff that he already has, like that is simple, like what he always referred to as the Marine knot that he's in, because to get all his characters where they need to be is so fucking complicated, and he can either do that or he can look at these like blurbs he's read and like extend those.
Yeah.
Instead of like trying to tie it all together, he would rather just extend. So I don't think he has any interest in doing it, and because of that, I don't think he will finish. He'll die. I'm just intrigued to see what.
I mean, he's like a million.
Happened to it. I'm hoping the key is that he allows the books to be finished by someone else, and that's what we find out. I don't think he has any interest in throwing that information out until he dies, because I think that would take away from whatever status that he has at the moment and his name recognition to it, because if he names someone else to finish writing it, then they will be the new writer of Game of Thrones, and they will get the attention of what's going to happen next and what's the canon. And I think so. I think that my true hope is that he names someone to be able to finish it, or blesses someone to finish it.
Allegedly, he has. He hasn't said who it is, but allegedly he says somebody knows like what's going on. Should I die in a plane crash tomorrow? They have all the stuff they need to make it happen.
I mean, and then that's what I think will happen, and that'll be fine, and I'll be like, cool, this is how it finishes.
Yeah,
but it'd be interesting to say that like neither of the two biggest fantasy stories maybe ever considered were unable to be finished by their creators.
Yeah,
that and A Wheel of Time, if you don't know.
I do know about Wheel of Time. Yeah.
All right, I think I've had enough. I think I've had enough of this.
I think that's a good tagline for the end of all of our shows. I think I've had enough of this.
And I've had enough of this
bullshit. This weekend, Troy and I and John Fitzwater, friend of the pod, are bringing you the Borderlands movie, which is looking like it might be one of the movies that comes out this summer.
It will be a movie.
Rings of Power comes back in a couple weeks. We'll probably be watching that. Batman Capes Crusader came out. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It's really good. And we'll do other things.
Let's see. I don't have anything, I think, on the horizon.
I got a list.
We'll
go over it.
Lot of
That's
nothing.
it for you guys. We'll talk this afterwards.
Sure. If you say so.
It's not going to be 1,000,000 degrees tomorrow. I'm so excited.
Still love that song.